Hi, today I will be sharing with you my Makerspace lesson plan. My name is Erica Springer, and I did a Makerspace lesson plan on creating a Native American brochure. So I'm going to walk through the lesson plan I created. So the title of my lesson is Native American Brochure. The question or problem that my students need to solve is to create a brochure that describes the houses, food, and way of life of their assigned tribe. And we will get to that later on how they are assigned the tribe. It is recommended for second grade, and it's all about Native American research. To complete this assignment, students will need 2 different books. The first book is If You Lived with the Cherokee by Connie Roop and Peter Roop, and that's going to be used for the teacher model. The Very First Americans by Kara Ashrose is the book that they will be using to find their research information. A graphic organizer will be provided, paper, which they're going to use to actually create the brochure, markers, crayons, colored pencils to decorate and write on their brochure, and then finally a pencil to record their information. The final product will be research-based Native American brochure, including information about the tribe's houses, food, and way of life. Students will be able to record facts about their tribe's houses, food, and way of life onto a graphic organizer, identify the big ideas for each topic using The Very First Americans by Kara Ashrose, and to design and then create a brochure to share facts. Some of the key vocabulary that students will be learning is the definition of descriptive writing, and then also we will go into the writing process. 2 essential questions will be asked during this time. How do I write a descriptive text that has a clear topic, supporting facts, and a closure? And how do I use information from sources to answer a question? To help differentiate this lesson, students who need a little bit of extra help may work the back table in a small group with some teacher support, and students who need an extension may choose to research an additional tribe, but they have to complete their first tribe first and make sure that that is the final product, but then they will be able to research another tribe because they are more likely to finish first. The objective for this lesson is that students will collaborate with peers to create a brochure with information about a Native American tribe using research found in their book and recorded on a graphic organizer. Common Core state standards, there are a few listed here. I will go through those. So we have SL 2.6, which is where students will produce complete sentences when appropriate to task and situation in order to provide requested detail or clarification. And I'm going to go ahead and explain how that connects to the activity at the same time I'm telling you the different standards. So the standards are listed here, and how it connects is listed here. So that one connects because they do have to use complete sentences to give that information. The next standard says that they need to write informative explanatory text in which they introduce a topic, use facts and definitions to develop points, and provide a concluding statement or section. Over here, it connects to our activity because the process of informative and explanatory writing is used throughout this process, and we are going to be calling it descriptive. The next standard says that with guidance from adults and peers, students will focus on a topic and strengthen writing as needed by revising and editing. The standard below is very similar, but it's talking about publishing the writing with the collaboration of peers. So I went ahead and included these 2 over here with how it connects because they will be planning, drafting, revising, editing, and publishing writing with their peers. The last standard I have over here is W.2.7, which students will participate in shared research and writing projects. So over here, we are going to be researching to provide information, and that's going to be included on the brochure mentioned. So let's go ahead and look at the physical lesson. So again, the lesson title is Native American Brochure. So our overview is that students will research a Native American tribe, record their findings using a graphic organizer, and create a brochure to share with the class. So to begin, we're going to provide a little bit of background and an introduction. So this lesson is actually after we have read both the books mentioned, and we're going to take the information learned and kind of do some more research to provide all the information needed to create the brochures and provide the facts. So we're going to inform students that they will be writing a description on Native Americans, and they are probably going to need to be reminded of what descriptive writing is, and it's a type of informative writing. And we're going to review the most important parts, which include the beginning, which has the topic, the middle, which will have 2 or more main ideas and facts, and then the ending, which will have the closure. And then linking or temporal words should be used throughout. The teacher should then show an example of descriptive writing and a checklist that has all the different parts. And then as a class, you should go ahead and read that text and check off each part of on the checklist as it's read, so students can see that the checklist of all the different parts relates to the actual writing. So for day 1, using the texts posted around the room, so there's going to be 3 different texts that are posted around the room, and they are all descriptive or informational text, and students are going to have to use the checklist to work with a partner to read the text and then determine which piece is best, because they're going to check off each part as they read it in the text, and not all parts will be there in all 3 stories. Some stories are going to have more, some will have less, and they kind of have to figure out which one is best based on what parts are included. So once students complete all 3 checklists, they're going to pair up with other pairs to share which piece they think is the strongest and why. Stress that students should use the checklist in their explanation. And then we're going to meet back as a group, read the stories aloud and complete the checklists, and then share aloud which is the strongest and why. So moving on to day 2. Explain to students how to use the graphic organizer by starting with the big ideas to match the topic. So this process should be modeled by filling in the topic and 3 big ideas on a blank organizer. And we're going to use If You Lived with the Cherokee to find facts and information to complete the organizer. Have students count off by 3s and move according to their number. 1s will write about the Native Americans who lived on the Northwest Coast. 2s will write about those who lived in the plains. 3s will write about the woodland Indians. And then students should move around the room to sit with their partners so they can both see the book, which is going to be the very first Americans, and the graphic organizer. So based on which number they are, 1, 2, or 3, they're going to then break apart into pairs and move with that person. And they're going to work together to find information and facts regarding their tribe's houses, food, and way of life according to their findings on the graphic organizer. Now, students need to be assigned either partner A or partner B during this project, and at this time, an explanation of their roles and expectations should be given. So the different roles include facilitator, material collector, timekeeper for student A, note taker, data collector, and graph creator for student B. So student A is responsible for making sure everyone stays on task, gathering and returning materials needed for the day, and to make sure time is used wisely. Student B is responsible for writing any questions or ideas that they have during group work on a sticky note to later share with the class or with the teachers, recording research findings onto the graphic organizer in the appropriate section, and then setting up and creating the brochure, and then they can also get some help from student A for that. For day 3, the focus of the lesson will be the conclusion. Students need to be reminded that the conclusion lets the reader know that they are finished telling about the topic, and it wraps up what was described. Students are going to take about 10 minutes to plan their conclusion with the same partner that they worked with the day before. This is going to be their partner for the remainder of this lesson. Once this is completed, model how to turn a graphic organizer into a rough draft that makes sense to the audience. And the students are going to work around the room with their partner to try and do this. They're going to take their organizer and make it into a rough draft. They should be using their organizer, their checklist, and the book to see if to have that help them as well. For day 4, students are going to finish their drafts for the first 15 minutes and then introduce the idea that conclusions can be written in many different interesting ways, including describing an image, ending with a question, or telling how the writer feels about the topic. Model describing a scene from a Cherokee village to show describing an image. The teacher will then model how to end with a question by first reminding the reader about the topic and then asking a question. And then modeling how to tell how the writer feels about the topic will come last. After all these different models are given to the students, they should go back to their spot around the room and edit and improve their conclusion. And then they're going to go ahead and finish up those drafts. And the final day is going to be the 5th day, where students are going to use their organizers as well as their rough drafts to create their brochures. Partners will create one final brochure to share their information. Pictures may be drawn and clip art will be available to glue in if they choose. That will be printed based on which tribe they are researching, and students can use that if they want to. Students will start by writing their introduction on the front flap, so after you open it up, there's one flap there, and then when you open it all the way, there's 3 sections side by side, and that's going to be where they're going to add facts about houses, food, and way of life. And then when you flip it over, the back's going to be the conclusion. And then the very front cover should be done last, and it's going to include the name of the Native American tribe and the names of the students. This is done last because students are going to spend most of their time trying to decorate it and make it look good, which is awesome. But it's not the most important part of the brochure. The most important part is going to be to add that information. The final assessment is going to be the actual brochure itself, and the checklist that the students have been using this entire time is going to be the checklist that is used to grade their brochure. Students are also going to be given a grade based on how they worked with their partner and if they did their role within the group, and also how well they collaborated. And the references that were used to create this lesson were from a manual of bookworms for 2nd grade, reading and writing, lesson plans for English language arts. And that was from 2018. And that is the conclusion of my lesson plan. Thanks for watching.